What's going on, Dark Souls 2 fans? This is Twister Dawn coming at you one more again with another episode of Dark Souls 2 PvP. This is a multi-part series that I have started that I like the title, Stay Off My Bridge. Alright, so the geography of the bridge in the Blood Arena is definitely different than the other arenas that you face. It has turned into what was my least favorite into my most favorite, and that being due to the arena that I used to fight in was, the one on the very right, the one with the big wood structure in the middle that you could climb up. And the reason that I stopped playing in that arena was not for any other reason than just the people that would just ruin the whole match. I mean, when I go into a fight, I want to fight. I mean, I don't care what you do, but I want to fight if we go into a battle, And the thing about it is I was fighting these guys, and when I say run, these guys, it wasn't that they were running and healing, and some guys, they do that, but it was the fact that they were running in full circles around the wood structure, and I fought probably one of these guys out of at least every 10 fights, or even in some cases more. So, you know what, I said, let's go and try the bridge out. Sure, you've got to, not fall off, but you definitely have a chance to corner your opponent and for him not to run around and just troll you to death. And I can definitely see why someone would probably think that's funny on his end, but I mean, ultimately, you're not accomplishing anything by doing that, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the PvP that we're facing here, and the separation of good players in the evolution of Dark Souls 2 PvP and what is known as just a random player. And as you see in a lot of these matches, I am pretty much I've gotten to where backstabs are as easy as they were on Dark Souls 1. And that's just understanding the mechanic. And I've received so much hate mail about lag and latency and all this stuff. And it's not even that. It's just understanding the mechanism. And back in 2011, 2012 Dark Souls, I received the same amount of hate mail in that game, just because people didn't understand how backstabs work. And if you notice some of the tactics that I'm using in some of these matches, like this guy right here, I've come out and I'm throwing the low edge talismans, not only to prevent people from healing, which I mean, it is what it is. Usually I won't heal unless my opponent heals, just because that's just I know it's kind of reflection, I guess, of your personality. I don't, let's have a good fun fight. If you heal, then I'll heal, whatever. But you gotta honestly, not knowing these people, you gotta honestly think to yourself that everybody's gonna heal. So it's not that the Lloyd's Talisman is just there to prevent healing. It's a little baiting tactic that I have, and you can use it probably Black Fire Bombs or anything. But I start with throwing the Lloyd's Talismans, and usually a lot of these guys will roll into you, and they'll roll into you running R1. And this is the same guy, and he did the same thing, fell for the same tactic twice. So the rolling R1 that these guys are using, I predict that and bait them to do that with the Lloyd's Talismans. And a lot of times, they don't know what you're throwing at them. They think you're doing damage to them, or even if they do, they don't want their healing cut off. So they roll into you and try to punish you with an R1. That's where you hit them with a parry back step. If you don't know how to do the parry back step, then it's simply just an LT and the B button. If you're on PS3, it'll be the L2 and the circle button. So let's take a look at this guy. This guy's got a lot of magic going on. The first thing I've noticed about fighting magic users is you have to acknowledge the magic, because magic will do some damage to you, definitely, unless you just got a high magic defense build or setup you're using. Magic will definitely do some damage to you. So before you try to think about whatever tactic you're going to do, you have to acknowledge the fact that they've got pursuers on their head, or infinity. Check that. It's called pursuers in Dark Souls 1. And then you have to acknowledge the fact they got crystal soul mass, or whatever they're using at you. You got to acknowledge it. You got to at least dodge it, or come up with something that you've you know, you gain a lot of repetitions in to defend yourself against that particular spell. And that comes with just, you know, fighting a lot of spells and knowing what they look like and knowing how they work and such. So, and if you do that, you will have your own abilities to punish, and in most occasions, it's either a roll BS for me, or just making them, you know, use their pre-buff spells as Infinity and stuff like that, and getting in their face and not letting them escape, hitting them with an Avalon if they run away. So, a lot of the trained responses that you develop when playing are things like what you can and can't roll BS, such as that last guy with the Pursuer Greatsword, Ultra Greatsword that he was using. I mean, I know I can roll BS Ultra Greatsword. Those weapons are slow as hell, you know. This guy will be a little bit more tricky to roll BS. He's kind of using the spammy R1s of that, whatever that is, a rapier or something. But I know I can trade with this guy with the Science Halberd. I do more damage. I do a lot of stuff like that. Or I can go ahead and fish for a backstab like that, and that'll work just as well. And the thing is, once you understand how the backstabs work, you have a big advantage on a lot of people. A big advantage. Because a lot of people think it's lag, but like, if you notice when you're fighting somebody, I would advise against rolling away from your opponent. Now, I don't know what the actual equipment load is. You know, the lower your equipment load, the farther you roll. So, if you're at a certain equipment load, you don't roll very far away, and you're, by, you know, following you when you roll away, I can catch you, you know, that first slap, catch you and backstab you. In a lot of cases, if you know, if they got a long roll, you'll slap the air or something. But I mean, that works so good because they roll diagonally, they roll away from you, they roll to the left or right. You can just follow them on their back and just grab them and stab them in the back. So it's a very good technique. It's very easy to do once you think about it. That and the roll BS is and the pivot BS. You know, you got the pivot BS, the roll BS, I don't even know what to call that backstab. Maybe the capture BS or something. I don't know, the catch BS. There's a good one, the catch BS. So when you're thinking about that, it really adds a lot more technique to your arsenal. It adds a sort of a punish. You know, punishes are good for defeating people who exploit certain things. If you're just going to roll away or roll whatever direction you want to with mindlessly thinking that you can get away with it, then you deserve to be punished. And it's the same thing with R1 spammers. You know, in a lot of these occasions, you know, I don't spam my R1 on my Halberd here, but I do use it in conjunction with, I guess you would say, the techniques that I have developed. So that's what that's about. And, you know, parries, depending on what your opponent is using, you know, katanas are one of the most predictable things, and so is greatswords. You know that if you should try a parry or not. If you're not too familiar with the weapon, it's just like spells. If you're not too familiar with the spell, you know, you're gonna have to die from it, or, you know, just to learn what it's like, or even use it yourself. Same with weapons. There's a lot more weapons than spells, so you're going to either have to use them yourself to understand them, or get killed by them, or just fight them over and over and over. So here I'm fighting this guy right here, and he went ahead and healed, so I went ahead and healed. And here I'm trying to throw. I'm not throwing Lloyd's Talisman at him to prevent him from healing. I mean, that's an extra benefit. So I mean, I'd rather do that than throw fire bombs, because I'd rather him not to heal. But I'm trying to bait him into a rolling R1, like I was talking about earlier, and parry him. Excuse me. So here I'm just doing that, trying to aggravate him, seeing what he's going to do, and eventually here I think I decide to go in for the kill. And there's some opponents you want to go in, and you know your weapon's better than their weapon. I know the Scion Halberd's longer; it does a little more damage than that weapon he's using. But he's being very evasive. But here I catch him in a catch BS, like I was talking about earlier, and I'm going to go ahead and swap to the Science Halberd and do a little roll BS there and finish him off. Very, very good techniques, like I talked about earlier. Probably the roll BS, catch BS, pivot BS are my favorite backstabs. And at the end of this match, you will definitely see me have a little bonus fight there in the Drain Lake Castle, where I use a different variety amount of BS attempts. So this little series here, I'd like to make a few more videos of battling on the bridge here. And I'd like to use a different weapon each time. So I'm using the Scion's Halberd this time. Very good weapon. Good damage, good reach. There's another occasion of a catch BS. He's trying to roll away from me. When you roll away from somebody, you expose your back. And it just takes a split second for me to grab you and stab you in the back. So here we go with the bonus fight. This is the last fight, guys. I definitely appreciate you watching this. Hopefully you learned something. And here I parried twice, which was accidentally. I didn't mean to parry that second time. But yeah, hopefully you learned something about this. And the next time I may just swap it up and try a different weapon on the Battle of the Bridge. I may try a longsword or something. We'll see. And see there's a couple of roll BS attempts there. I missed the pivot BS, roll BS there. But this guy right here has definitely got some damage potential here with these dual. It looks like Helix Howards. So I got to be careful. But I'm always aware of the roll BS here. Always aware. I'm using Gower's Ring to my advantage. Kind of playing unlocked a little bit here. Gonna try to trade with him right here and ends up swinging in the wrong direction. Sometimes that happens with this game. And then I think I finally get something good here going on for me. But I definitely appreciate you guys watching. And definitely tune in next time for some more Dark Souls 2 PvP. Until next time, Twister Done is that, guys. Thanks for watching.